Hi, Professor Charlie Evans here. We've reached the final exam in History 241. It's the end of the course. And the essay question on your final exam is one of the great historical questions amongst Russian scholars, and that's the optimist versus pessimist question. Um, the idea of whether conditions were improving in Russia before World War I started or whether Russia's conditions were deteriorating with an imminent revolution soon to happen. This was a discussion that began in 1964, 1965 in the pages of the Slavic Review after an article was published by Leopold Haemsen. A whole series of scholars then weighed in on the whole topic and citing different kinds of evidence as to what the condition was in Russia before 1914. Your job, after reviewing the kind of the materials in the textbook and some of the materials I have here, including material about Vecchi. Vecchi was a composium, a symposium, an edited collection of articles by Russian intellectuals published before World War I, in which intellectuals debated their role in Russian society, whether they had a leadership role, whether they were out of touch with what was happening in Russian society, whether they needed to somehow rethink what they should be doing in Russia. Um, Intellectuals debated this. At the same time, there were all kinds of uh, strike revolts going on at the time, and so scholars have looked back 1914 and questioned whether Russia was headed for political and social improvement and stability, or whether Russia was headed for imminent revolution, which was then postponed by the outbreak of World War One. Your job as budding Russian historians is to make the same assessment, to look at the conditions of Russia in 1910 to 1914, immediately before the war, and assess the situation in Russia. This is a hindsight, this is a kind of a armchair quarterback, a hindsight question, but you have to approach a question without knowing the future history of Russia from from World War One and the revolution to the present. You're like stopping in 1914 and taking a snapshot of Russia and assessing the condition of Russian history, Russian society, Russian politics, Russian culture, and everything. And so the question leaves you a lot of creativity. It's a fun question. Use your knowledge of Russian history and what was going on in Russia to answer the question. Good luck with the question. Good luck with the exam. Hope you enjoyed the course.